All right, part 2, applied forces. So when you are applying a force to an object, that is an applied force. The cue ball is applying a force to the red ball, making it move. So when you are touching and pushing an object or pulling an object, that is an applied force. So hitting a baseball, pulling on some weights, hitting a cue ball, bouncing a basketball, those are all applied forces. Hitting a punching bag, pushing a shopping cart, pulling a wagon, a dog tugging on a leash, these are all applied forces. The third force that we're going to be talking about is friction. If you have a cell phone case that is kind of sticky and you set it on a book right now and tilt it a little bit, you might have the cell phone case stick to the book. That is because of friction. Friction is when two surfaces exert a force on each other. So when two objects rub against each other, like say your two hands, you can feel the heat. That is because of friction. There are 3 types of friction: sliding friction, rolling friction, and air resistance. These are all examples of things exerting forces on each other. Sliding friction is when things slide. There's Ian Kinsler sliding across the dirt. The rough dirt makes the friction a little bit greater. If he was sliding on ice, it would be a little bit easier to slide, but both of those are sliding friction. Rolling friction is when something rolls. It has wheels. There's 2 examples of rolling friction. Here's an example of both sliding and rolling friction. And air resistance is a type of friction. It's hard to see air resistance because, air is hard to see, but that is the collision of air particles and moving objects. So when a skydiver is falling through the air, gravity is pulling down, but air resistance is pushing back up. Those are the force pairs. So if you have gravity pulling down, then air resistance pushes back against it. The applied force of a bus or a car moving in a certain direction is applied force, but then you have air resistance pushing back against these 2 vehicles. Obviously, air resistance is going to be greater against the bus than it is against the car, but those are 2 force pairs. This feather floating down is a type of, or example of air resistance. And this is a great video to show what happens when you get rid of air. Watch this video and see what happens when there is no air resistance. It's pretty wild. So there are 4 examples of forces. There is the difference between balanced and unbalanced force. Please go through these practice examples and see if you can identify different types of forces, and then make a project that show me those forces and the difference between balanced and unbalanced forces. So thank you for watching today, and I definitely recommend. There's a skydiver. Check out this kid falling. Hey, buddy. Kid, hope you're okay. So gravity pulled the kid down. The little girl applied a force. Sliding friction because the box slid on the stairs. And then we've got normal force right there at the bottom. We've got normal force because the ground is pushing back up against the box. So good example of all of those. We've got applied, normal, gravity, and friction. Check out this crazy video of the climber, and I want you to think about what type of forces are working for or against this climber. Think about friction, think about gravity, think about applied force as the climber pushes against the wall in order not to fall. Think about friction. These are all of the forces are being demonstrated in this crazy video of the climber. So please go out and apply force to objects out in the world. Take a picture of it, draw a comic, make a diagram, show me how you understand the difference between balanced and unbalanced forces. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Use these examples as inspiration, and let me know if you have any questions.